Hello everybody, and welcome back to Certified Collectibles. This is another episode of First Appearances of the Week. This is Wednesday, May 19th, 2021. We'll be giving you all the first appearances hitting your comic shops today. Now, last week we had a big video. I think we had about 8 first appearances and 8 honorable mentions as well. This week is going to be very light in comparison. I think we only have 2 first appearance titles, but we do have about 7 honorable mentions to share with you guys. So still some good titles in there, so let's go ahead and take a look for the first appearances of the week ending May 21st, 2021. First up, from Marvel Comics, is Immortal Hulk Time of Monsters #1. This is the first appearance of the original Hulk in a story that takes place 10,000 years ago, and it also features the origin of the Green Door. And from DC Comics, Legends of the Dark Knight #1. This features the first appearance of a chemical arms dealer who supplies Gotham's villains with deadly weapons. So those are the 2 first appearances for this week. I told you guys it was super light, but that's typically what happens when the previous week is very heavy. So we do have 7 honorable mentions to share with you guys, so let's go ahead and take a look at those. First up from Fantagraphics, Red Room #1. The solicitation reads, aided by the anonymity of the dark web and nearly untraceable cryptocurrency, there has emerged a subculture of criminals who livestream webcam murders for profit. Next up from Dark Horse, Far Cry Rite of Passage #1. This is a 3-part series based off of characters from Far Cry 4 through 6. Next up from Antarctic Comics, OBE Out of Body Experience #1. A haunted detective must work with a lonely social worker to catch an elusive killer who has learned how to hunt from the astral plane. Next up from Dark Horse, Rangers of the Divide #1. This is a 4-issue sci-fi fantasy series. A team of inexperienced soldiers venture out on their first mission into uncharted territories. Next up from Scout Comics, Red Shift #1. While humanity grapples to survive on Mars, the Ministry of Exploration pins mankind's last hope of resurgence on an astronaut who's scared of space. From DC Comics, Nightwing #80. This features a second cameo appearance of Heartless. And finally from DC Comics, Wonder Girl #1. This is the premiere issue of a solo title featuring Yara Flor as Wonder Girl. So there you have our 2 first appearances and the 7 honorable mentions that we have for you guys this week. Now that's only 9 books in all. That's half of what we had for you guys last week. So let's go ahead and go through those. We'll give you our recommendations for what we think you should add to your long-term investment portfolio. Now out of the first appearances, Immortal Hulk Time of Monsters #1. This one here is one we definitely think you can put on your B list. This features the origin of Green Door and the first appearance of the original Hulk in a story that takes place 10,000 years ago. This doesn't sound tremendously important to us the way it's presented in the solicitation. It may be, but this is one you can probably put on your B list. Next from DC Comics, Legends of the Dark Knight #1. This features the first appearance of the chemical arms dealer who supplies Gotham's villains with chemical weapons. Now this is a Batman title, a Dark Knight title, so it really all depends on what they do with this villain, who this villain is, how they bring this character into other story arcs, into motion pictures, or into television series. Like we say before, this is a big driver for some of these new characters. So this one here, one you can put on your B list. Keep an eye on this one. This may be important. It all depends on what they do with the character. Now from the honorable mentions, Red Room #1 from Fantagraphics. This one here sounds like it's going to lend itself very well to TV or film. This is the one where a subculture of criminals live stream webcam murders for profit. This is very socially relevant. This is very relevant to social media and cryptocurrencies. We do think this one here will probably be adapted to TV or film. This is one we do think you should pick up. Now next up from Dark Horse, Far Cry Rite of Passage #1. Now this comic here is based on the video game Far Cry. We do think you should pick this one here up. Video game comics right now are super hot. They're typically low print runs. You know, everyone loves this video game. People will probably transfer over to the comic book if they know about it. So this is one we do think you should pick up. Video game comics are super hot right now. Next up, OBE, Out of Body Experience #1 from Antarctic. This is the one where the haunted detective must work with a social worker to catch an elusive killer who's learned to hunt from the astral plane. Once again, this sounds like it's going to lend itself very well to TV or film. That's a big driver for these indie titles. This one here is one we also think you should probably pick up. Now next up from Dark Horse Comics, Rangers of the Divide #1. This is a 4-issue sci-fi limited series. This here is one where the team of inexperienced soldiers venture out onto their first mission into uncharted territories. It all depends on how well the story is received. This sounds like it can lend itself very well to TV or film. Like we always say, that is a big driver. If it does get translated to TV or film, this will be a big book. If it doesn't, it probably will not be. So use your best judgment with this. But if you are picking up these for speculation, go ahead and grab this one for your collection. Next up from Scout Comics, Redshift #1. This is where humanity tries to survive on Mars. They pin their last hope on an astronaut who's scared of space. You can pretty much take everything we said for Rangers of the Divide, translate it to this one. This here sounds like it can lend itself very well to TV or film. If so, if it does get made into a TV series or a feature film, this will be a big book. Scout Comics does make a lot of comics that are translated to TV or film. So this is one we do think you should add. But once again, this is speculation on what they do with this title. If they translate it to TV or film, it'll be good. If they do not, it probably will not be. And from DC Comics, Nightwing #80. This is the second cameo appearance of Heartless. We really don't think this is tremendously important. Pick up the first cameo appearance of Heartless. That one will probably have the most collectability going forward. And finally from DC Comics, Wonder Girl #1. This here is the first ongoing solo title featuring Yara Flor as Wonder Girl. This is not her first appearance. You probably want to pick up her first appearance, but this here is the premiere issue of her solo titled series. So keep this one on your B list. Take a look at it later on. So there you have our recommendations for the week ending May 21, 2021. Please drop some comments in the comment section below. Let us know what you guys think. Give us a thumbs up if you like this video. And as always, please remember to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thank you for joining us here at Certified Collectibles, and we'll see you again next time.